Hello. This could be a continuation on of my last video, which was kind of short for me because 15 minutes is a short video for me. And I went through maybe a dozen verses. Let's recap. Now, last video was how you had the Jesus cross here, then you had other guys. And one verse says the two other guys were berating and harassing him with their speech. They're saying, hey, if you're really the Son of God, why don't you just jump off the cross? And you could save us too. But then, near the end of that video, one of the malefactors said, Jesus, can you remember me when you enter your kingdom? Truly, truly, I say, you will be with me in paradise. Yeah. That was my last contradiction video. So, to recap that last video, we might as well just do it all over again. Mark 15:32. Let Christ, the King of Israel, descend now from the cross, that we may see and believe that they were crucified with him, reviled him. They're being sarcastic, they're cracking jokes, like saying, hey, you say you're the Son of God, but you're nailed to a fucking cross just like us. And why you gotta allow that to happen? Maybe you're the Son of God. You could just plop those nails out, jump up, and hey, he saved others from death. He can't save himself. So let Christ, the King of Israel, descend now off from the cross, that we may see and believe that they that were crucified with him reviled him. Luke 23. (29) onward. For behold, the days are coming, in the which they shall say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never gave suck. Blessed are you that never had a child, and your titties never got sucked. You had no children. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, you could talk to mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. You could talk to mountains and hills, cover us, protect us. For if they do these things in a green tree, what shall they be done in dry? And there are two others. When you talk about the crucifixion, there's two others. What makes this one guy so special? These two guys didn't do any magic tricks for you. There's no frosted Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious when it comes to these two guys. These two guys are nothing. This one guy is something. But how come they did the same thing and they're not producing any Lucky Charms, magically delicious? How come this one single guy has the power to do it? And these guys did the same thing, got themselves nailed to a cross, and they don't do any magical special favors for you. And there are two others, malefactors, led him to be put to death. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, they were crucified with him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and one on the left. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And he parted his raiment, and cast lots. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself. If he be the Christ, the chosen of God, coming to him and offering and saying, If thou be the King of the Jews, save yourself. And a subscription also was written over him, letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. This, the King of the Jews. That's another contradiction video. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be the Christ, save yourself and save us. And indeed, justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man had done nothing amiss. And he said unto, this is the other guy, he said unto Jesus, Remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say, today you will be with me in paradise. So does that mean that there's a second resurrection? Does that mean that he's not the one and only ever resurrected? He told this other guy, because he kissed ass with him, sucked his dick, that, hey, you kiss ass and suck dick so well, I think you're going to go to heaven with me. You're going to be with me in paradise, he said. So he was not the only one to be resurrected, is the video material that I'm going through. I had a Christian who actually admitted this, that he only picks out his favorite lines, his favorite verse. That's my favorite verse, or that's my favorite verse. And I don't care about all the contradictions you're saying. It's just a waste of breath, Mo. I said, okay, waste of breath. What if you, Christian, were to make a video telling me how I'm wrong? Go ahead and do it. Acts 26:23. I just got my favorite one, and I don't care about all the rest of the shit you gotta say. I got my favorite one, and I'm not gonna waver. I'm not gonna move away from my favorite one. Who cares if you have a dozen contradictions on top of that? I'm not moving from my favorite one in Acts 26:23. That Christ should suffer and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead. He's the first, very, very only one to rise from the dead. Is he? And show light unto the people and to the Gentiles. I was the first and only to rise from the dead. Bullshit. 1 Corinthians 15:20. I only got my special one little verse that I like, and I don't care about contradictions, Mo. You're wasting your breath talking about contradictions on me. because I got my own special verse. And I said, what is it? Book, chapter, and verse. I don't know. It's just what my pastor told me. 1 Corinthians 15:20. But now is Christ risen from the dead. Christ is risen. He was dead, and now he's risen. And he came back to life after the dead. And became the first fruits of them that sleep. The first to rise from the dead. Bullshit. But that's my favorite verse. Well, no, there's contradictions to that. 1 Samuel 28. Another book in 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 28. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up from thee unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. There's a witch that is conjuring up a spell and says, who do you want me to bring up? Bring up Samuel. In other places, witchcraft is forbidden and an abomination. But now witchcraft is good, and it raises up Samuel. One Samuel 28, verse 14. And he said unto her, what form is be of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he's covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. Samuel came back to life. How come they said in the Jesus stories that he was the first and only, when two incidences of a witch bringing Samuel back to life? But was he really the first to rise from the dead? Was he the only one to be resurrected? Was he? 1 Kings 17. 1 Kings 17. Not there yet. Almost there. Shit. 1 Kings 17:21. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times. That sounds kind of like pedophile to me. This adult man is laying himself on top of a child. 3 times. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come in unto him again. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. That's kind of weird ass freaky shit, that I'm going to lay myself on top of this little minor boy, bring him back to life. Wow. Hey, My boy's dying. Let this weird, freaky guy lay on top of him 3 times. And then he's brought back to life. Dude. Okay. 2 Kings 4, 32. Damn it. 2 Kings 4. Let me get to it. Two Kings 4, 32. And when Elijah was come into the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. The dead child on the bed. Dead. Complete. He went into therefore and shut the door upon them twain and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up and lay upon the child and put his mouth upon his mouth and his eyes upon his eyes and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child. And the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked up into the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times. And the child opened his eyes. This weirdo kind of revived and brought back to life a dead child by... He's laying himself on top of him 3 times, eyes to eyes, mouth to mouth, nipple to nipple, groin to groin, and legs to legs, and which sounds kind of fucking creepy because this guy sounds like a fucking pedophile. I'm going to bring this child back to life if I could lay on top of him 3 times. Weirdo shit from your Bible. I bet you that's not one of your favorite cherry pick verses. You don't cherry pick that, do you? Acts 26:23. That Christ should suffer and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead. No, Elisha, in his pedophile action, raised a child from the dead. So he wasn't the first or the only. Elijah was getting freaky with the little boy, and he arose and rise from the dead. Elisha brought a little boy back to life. There's a couple passages about that I just read. One Corinthians 15:20. There's no contradictions in the Bible. I don't care if there's contradictions. I just pick out my lovely one verse that I like. I can't even tell you the book, chapter, and verse. It's just what my pastor told me. But now is Christ raising from the dead. 1 Corinthians 15:20. And become the first fruits of them that slept. First fruits. Was he the only one to ever rise from the dead? No. We'll go to Luke 9:30. Luke 9:30. What? Luke 9:30. And behold, there with him were two men, which was Moses and Elijah. They're like ghost people. Jesus saw Moses and Elijah appear to him. Were they ghost-like people? Like they raised from the dead? Ghost with your fucking Jesus. Were they? Moses and Elijah were seen by your Jesus in Luke 9:30. Moses and Elijah were seen by your Jesus in Luke 9:30. That means that, hey, did they raise up from the dead too? According to this verse, they're fucking ghosts. The ghost of Moses and Elijah appeared to Jesus. Luke 9:30. Isn't that stupid, dumb shit? Okay. But he really was the only one to rise from the dead. He's the first fruits of those who slept. But no, he was not, because of Matthew 9:23. And when Jesus came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed at him in scorn. Let's go back to verse 20. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years, came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith has made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour on. I have this really bad female issue, some cancerous issue, some life-threatening issue. All I gotta do is, and maybe if I just touch the cloak of his garment, here's made you whole. Bullshit. Fucking magic tricks. Fucking magic is condemned in the Bible. We'll get in another video about that. And when Jesus came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels, people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place for the maid. She is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed at him in scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and made the maid arose. And the fame hereof went abroad into that land. He made someone live after they died here. So he was not the first and only. He made someone rise up and live in that passage. He was not the first and only. But Acts 26:23 says He was the first and only, the only and the first to rise from the dead. It says that in 1 Corinthians 15:20. But I went through like a fucking dozen verses already, and let's go on with something else. Luke 7:12. Was Jesus the first and the only? Now when he came nigh to the gate of the city, behold, there was a dead man carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and much people of the city was with her. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her. And he said unto her, Weep not. And he came and touched the bier, and they that bare him stood still. And he said, Young man, I say unto thee, arise. And he that was dead sat up and began to speak, and he delivered him to his mother. He raised up a guy right there. And there came a fear on all, and they glorified God, saying that a great prophet is risen up among us, and that God hath visited his people. I show you a neat magic trick, and you believe. How do we know that's true? How do we know he was really dead? Hey, Jesus is behind the scenes giving them a $20 bill. Hey, pretend like you're dead and raise up. Okay. John 11:43. And when he thus have spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. Remember the story of Lazarus? He raised that fucker from the dead. Why don't you dump your religion